What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk, episode number 81 with your Three Stones Pit Crew. I'm your tire changer, Cam.
I'm your Jackman Kel.
And I am your gas man, Cam.
We got another great episode here ahead of you. A lot of news again this week. We're going to talk some NASCAR and then look forward to the week that is coming up. There was a ton of racing this weekend as well, so we'll touch on other winners from the weekend as well. And yeah, just kind of go from there. So, what's been going on, fellas, since we last reconvened with each other?
Well, it's been 12 hours, not even.
Yeah, just about.
So it's been good. Yeah, no, we had a little birthday get together, so that was good. Um, so yeah, got to do a little race, got to visit one of the local establishments, and here we are. So
No, not a whole lot. But I don't even think if you followed our socials, you might have saw it, but we had a pit crew birthday. So
yeah,
we were celebrating pit crew birthday. Cam and Cam were celebrating a pit crew member's birthday. Shout out Jack, man. So
yep, we're officially in the threes now. So no, it was good. A lot of good little surprises as the weekend went along. So yeah, all was well. So
Cool deal. Obviously,
yeah,
we got to watch a little bit of racing while we were partaking in festivities as well. And
yep.
so, no, good time overall. So, well, should we talk about a little bit of racing here? It's going to be a little more NASCAR focused this week. Um, I think the first big topic that I think I kind of want to talk about is the All Star race. So, NASCAR announced the format for the All Star race this year. Uh, Couple of key points with it, and we'll kind of go from there as far as what we want to talk about. Race is increasing 50 laps, so we're increasing it to 250 total laps. We're gonna have a comp caution at or around lap 100. There will be a manufacturer challenge throughout it, which we can kind of dive into a little bit. There's a promoter's caution for this race, which we'll kind of dive into a little bit. And then there's the pit crew challenge is back as well. So a lot of things going on for this weekend that I think we could be somewhat good for, but also up in the air with. So where where do you guys want to start? I feel like we're obviously fine with the number of laps. Comp caution is what it is, but I feel like the first one that really came out that really stirred conversation for us was the promoter's caution.
yeah, I think across the board, I think that got the most. That's what got people barking this week. Um, Across social media, talking the most was the promoter's caution and
Yep.
just how that's going to be. So correct me if I'm wrong. It has to be thrown before, is it lap 200 or
20.
220?
Yep.
And just trying to figure out who's in charge of it and what's the criteria for being thrown. Um,
So it's going to
there,
be
there's just, yeah, go ahead.
Marcus Smith is technically the promoter for the race. So it'll be his decision as far as when the caution is thrown.
Yep.
So just gut reaction. What are your guys' thoughts on this? And then I got a couple follow-up questions for you.
I feel like we're reaching for entertainment.
Yeah, I would. So I think with knowing you have a comp caution, I think you got to do one or the other.
Yep.
And I think, the comp caution, is that more of a short track type feel? Yes, because there are certain series, and Cars Tours one in particular that has this comp caution that if you run a set number of green flag laps consecutively, there is a comp caution. Cool, I can get behind that. I can appreciate that, but in the same sense, like I feel like now with this promoter's caution, we're kind of like all right, we're just gonna throw this in there, and if it gets too strung out because somebody's just too good, let's rack them back up. Like,
I
I don't know. I think we're trying to get a little bit too cute with it. I think we got to do one or the other. Maybe make that promoter's caution somewhere in the middle and make it, call it lap somewhere between 100 and 150, and then remove the comp caution. Or if you're going to leave the comp caution around lap 100, then you just let it run the rest of the way. I think we're trying to get a little bit too cute doing both at the same time. Just my initial
So,
reaction.
well, so I'm gonna go. I know I'm gonna be battling uphill here because you guys are all into, you guys love that Bristol race where Larson led 400 and some laps and was checked out on the field. That's what gets you guys rocked up. So I'm not surprised you guys don't like this promoter's caution. But there's a couple thoughts I had on it. One, I love it because it's going to keep it entertaining. It's going to prevent a situation like that. It's an all-star race. So it's an entertainment business. And so I think, you know what? Larson is going to be Larson or Hamlin. You want to check out for your 4.5 seconds checked out on the field? Psych. We're going to re-rack them. Not only that, but then going to have some guys that are going to throw on some option tires right at the end there to also mix up. But one thing that I did I did think about here is, do you get into a little bit of, no, I'm all for, I'll say this, I am for the promoter's caution, but I could easily see somebody coming at counter argument would say, are we walking the line of like almost race manipulation?
I mean, how many times do we see the phantom caution for the
Debris.
Indy?
True, we see that every week, so well, not every week, but we see that frequently.
We've seen
So,
it
so,
a handful of times.
so it's
Exactly.
not nothing new. But I
Exactly.
did have that thought because it's like, okay, you know, did I think that Bristol race where Larson checked out and led every lap? Did I think that sucked? Hell yeah, I did. But you know, if that guy is checked out and he's got half the field lap on lap 220 and they throw that promoter's caution, and then on the first restart somebody runs him up the bumps him and runs him up the track, and then he loses the race, it's going to be like, I just thought that's just one of the thoughts I had, is like, could we walk the line a little bit of race manipulation here with, I don't know, I guess everybody's aware of it, everybody knows it can happen when or at around the time it can happen, so it could be anybody. It's not going to be if this guy's leading it, we throw it, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, yeah, it has the ability to, again, you know, going back to that Bristol race, Larson won the race. He had the best car. This is going to,
And like,
in my mind, I guess here's where we're at. We're going to sacrifice the best car winning the race for entertainment. And then I'll leave that with where you guys are at. Are you guys for the All-Star race? You want the best car to win the race? Or are you guys up for the entertainment?
It's hard to answer that question until you see how it plays out, I think.
if we're going to use the All-Star race for, call it, experiments,
Yep.
I think your best experiment is just invert the field.
Yeah, let's do an invert. Let's
Plain
roll a
and simple.
dice. Let's roll a dice and do a dice plus a number.
Yeah. Do an invert. And you do it at the comp caution too.
Yeah, invert them at the comp caution. Call it lap 150, and then cut them loose to finish the race.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
with that, it is an optional promoter's caution, so it does not need to be used. Just for the record.
So let's get this out there. What do you think the likelihood is if it's optional, which you just said it is? What do you think it's optional, it gets used?
Oh, it's gonna
Or what
get
do you
you
think, what do you think the chances are it gets used?
100%.
100%.
Yep.
I would be surprised if it doesn't get used. And I feel like if it doesn't get used, then why bring it in anyways?
Right. They're not going to mention it if they weren't just going to do it. Let's be
Correct.
honest. Hey, just put this in the back of your mind because it's an idea, but yeah, we're just it's the you're being voluntold it's going to happen.
Correct.
That's the way I look at it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to happen. That's my feeling. But yeah, my reaction is going to be I want to see how it plays out before I can like say yeah, I'm all for it or all against it.
And I guess to that point, we are in the All-Star race, and I guess if your approach is going to be, I guess I want to see how it's going to shake out. I guess that leaves us one option is we got to try it.
Right. And that's where I think that will come into play.
I just like you were saying, I think we're getting a little too cute, a little too showy for the
Yeah.
All-Star race. So
No, do I understand
on.
it's not a points race? Yes. Do I
Yep.
get it? It's a little more fandom type event? Yes. I do understand that to a certain degree, but like in the same sense, you can't stray too far from who you are, you know?
Also, how many years in a row have we changed the All-Star race
That's every
format
year.
wise?
And not only on top of changing the All-Star race to a certain degree, we're doing it to many different levels now. You know? Now we're on top of changing length, on top of changing the way we qualify, we're now changing NASCAR's lovely caution procedure,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to call it that per se. So I don't know. To be determined. That's where I'm gonna sit.
Yeah. Um, the other thing that came up is this manufacturer challenge. So basically, what'll happen is of the teams that make the race, whatever manufacturer has the lowest representation of drivers, there will be an equal number of drivers from the other two manufacturers. So let's just say Toyota only gets 5 drivers into the All-Star race. There'll be 5 drivers from Chevy and Ford, selected by, I'm assuming, Chevy and Ford,
Yep.
to compete in a mini competition in it. Basically, lowest score out of those 5 drivers wins this competition. No idea what the reward is.
I
But
I like that feel a little bit. You're picking
It's NASCAR fantasy in real life.
100%. Because when that guy wrecks out in the middle of the race on a restart after this calm caution, well, Chevy's down to 4 guys instead of 5. Well, you're behind the 8 ball now because your average just went through the roof.
yeah.
Your garage guy, he ain't got one of them this week.
A wreck is the equivalent of a water ball in golf.
Correct.
Losing a couple strokes.
Yep. That I like because I don't feel like there's really any like at the end of the day, the guys are racing for the money, right? Like let's get to the point that they're racing for the all-star check. Like, yes, is the all-star race a really big thing to win? Of course. But there's also a big monetary incentive for this event. So like it's not like when you're racing for that big money, you're not going to have guys riding around like they were at Martinsville making lanes for said drivers because there's a big check to be raced for.
I was going to bring that up. Not to totally. Are we still racing for $1,000,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of weird that like like they promote we're racing for $1,000,000, but the NASCAR weekly purse is like 7x that?
But it's split amongst drivers, and that purse also includes charter money.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
So this is
There's
a million to the winner race where your weekly payout
Yeah.
is in the few 100,000 range.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
Just an update. Hudson O'Neal just didn't make it out of the B main there.
Oh yeah, we're
Well, but he got roughed up and did not P4 in the B main, didn't make it out.
We are side watching the Lucas Oil feature here as we're recording. So
and USAC.
little Sunday night action for us. But
Got
um,
no, I am thoroughly intrigued to see the little manufacturer. I do like that little twist in there. Now, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see who gets to make that decision, and what goes into it.
and who their guys are based on where they qualify and or find themselves into the race.
Yeah, that's a cool little wrinkle. I'm excited for.
So I'm gonna be the Debbie Downer on this one, I guess. Where
Really?
I don't get the point of it because what's the reward that you get out of it?
True.
Bragging rights, sure.
Yep.
But let's just say Ford wins it based on the average, but Kyle Larson goes and wins the race itself. I feel like Chevy's gonna have a lot more bragging rights because they've won said race versus Ford having more guys in top 10. So
This
what's
is
the
fair.
reward?
Right. It's a very fair argument against it.
I guess this goes back. I don't know. I guess the equivalent was. I guess would be. Do you want a good overall team, or do you want a shitty team with a star player?
We'll see what these manufacturers decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because that you could brag that like, hey, Ford, yeah, we've got the yeah, Larson won the race, but overall, I mean, we just showed we've got a really good short package across the board for our manufacturer. Where
I
Chevy
also
can
feel like you
say,
could do that on any other week, but
Very true.
nonetheless.
I mean, look at what Ford did today.
Yeah, exactly.
They took it to them start to finish, let's be honest.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. That'd be cool. It'd be interesting to see.
So one
I
addition
can't.
that
Side note, that should be is that one of Fox's last races?
hold
Oh
please,
boy.
refresh.
Because we're running up on that, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Get the old Prime Video out.
Prime takes over on Coke 600 weekend.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so Fox has got, including next week at Texas, they have 4 races left. Sorry, 3. So it's Texas, Kansas, and All-Star race.
Okay.
because I side note, I can't wait to see what Fox does with that scoring pylon with all this going on.
Oh,
On the TV, that thing is gonna be lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yep.
Little little blue stopwatch for the fastest light. They're gonna have drivers highlighted here for who's in the
well,
manufacturer.
they're
This
not even
guy's
going
gonna
to
be
need the light. They're not even going to need the wash because there's no points.
true.
But
Still
I
a lot
hear
of
you.
shit on there.
Either way, but that that you have to think that Fox is going to overcomplicate the shit out of that
Oh,
based on based on what the manufacturers select for their drivers in the competition. So,
Or just going on their track history with option tires and
oh
I'm
yeah,
surprised you
yeah.
didn't say anything about that.
Well, I already did, and you guys just brushed over it. Didn't acknowledge it. So,
yeah, we know what we're getting with that, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Kind of the last wrinkle. This one more stays the same, and I think for an event like this, we should never get rid of it. Is that qualifying with the pit crew doing a 4 tire stop and then basing their pit stall selection on that. Like some crews have their 4 tire stops locked in, other groups don't. This is also, we talk about experiment. This is a chance for guys to try to do something a little bit different with somewhat of a no cost when you're
yep.
talking points racing. So I do appreciate that because those guys, I think they're only it kind of feels sometimes like the thankless job of like you don't hear about them when stuff goes well, but then when stuff goes haywire, it's like, oh, now we're listing pit crew guys, and when wheels fall off, we're kind of hammering on, but like I think this is a great opportunity for them to showcase their stuff and like that. At the end of the day, somebody's going to have the rights to say we had the fastest 4-tire stop, we had the fastest driver on the lap, we had the fastest everything. So, that is one thing I think we needs to be a staple, mandatory. I would even say.
I think totally on board because I guess thinking about it, the being a pit crew member is basically like, I think in football terms you could consider him the left tackle. A very important job of protecting the quarterback's backside. Don't get a lot of love until they get their rear ends cooked and the guy sacks the quarterback, fumbles it, and then we light up the offensive lineman. And so I think, yeah, it is a super cool deal. Give them a shot to, the spotlight, and I think Fox has kind of done a decent job with the whole their kind of segment where they, show a pit crew weekly and then, the whole behind the back jack
Yep.
unique move. But yeah, I think because wasn't there 2 points? Wasn't there, to Kellen's point, wasn't there a time where like I thought that like teams would change right side or left side tires first?
Yep.
Yeah.
So again, it just gives you pit crews another thing to just try and see how it shakes out. But I will say one thing now that we bring that up, nothing will ever top. I think is it when it was it All-Star race at Charlotte when
Yep.
those
I know where
guys
you're
would
headed
come,
with this.
yeah, when those guys would come barreling down pit road at
Yep.
150 miles an hour and just lock those brakes up from a quarter mile away and still slide through the box.
Yep. Get rid of the timing loop. Let the boys have at it.
Yep.
No, but I think
See,
it is. Yeah, I think it's just a cool idea. Just continues to let pit crews, put them in the spotlight, and again gives them another opportunity to shine.
How
I
do you
still think the
how do you
best.
just go ahead?
I was gonna say I still think the best way to represent pit crews and give them the spotlight was the old pit crew challenge at the old whatever arena. They set the arena up with all the pit stalls, and you had to push the car down the lane, and then otherwise, that's
Yep.
still hands down the best way.
Yeah. Huddy's going to a backup. And just interestingly enough, I was watching there. Ricky Thornton Jr. was helping getting that backup car unloaded. So
Oh,
side note, as I'm kind of just peeking over at it. But yeah. No, I think it'd be cool. That part is always fun. Those guys are pumped up and wild about it and they have a good time with it. And yeah, again, it's bragging rights up and down pit road.
yep.
Let the pit crews put a little gold chain on and say, hey, what you got, fellas? We got the best.
Yep.
So
Put their you know what's on the table, as you would say.
hell yeah.
Gotcha.
So last point I want to make, and this came up with drivers as well, mainly Denny Hamlin, because we all know that he is very vocal, let's just say.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure we've said this conversation before around the All-Star race time, but the classic run what you bring format. That's always been a discussion as far as if we think what our ideal All-Star format would be, that'd be the one. Well, Hamlin came out and said that he thinks it's a dumb idea. Not necessarily dumb, but he said that it's been brought up and that he was not a fan of it. And he was going to explain why on his podcast, which would be tomorrow as we record here on Sunday.
Yep.
So I'd
I
be
don't know.
very intrigued. I think part of it's going to be now you got to build an entirely new car, probably.
Yep.
And two, the amount of money you're going to spend for said car when we're trying to reduce expenses as it is.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be intriguing to see if you kind of just, that rule book kind of just gets tucked away for the week.
Yep.
Just see what the product would be like. That to me is the intrigue. Let's see what guys do to we talk a lot about passing with this next gen car. Let's see, what tricks these guys have up their sleeves that they want to try to bend some rules to see what happens.
You want to talk about an open test?
Have at it. Of
An open test in real racing simulation.
course. I've been
It's
thinking
the
about this for a long time. It
perfect
doesn't fit.
scenario.
Yep, I've been thinking about this for a long time. It doesn't fit the rule book. Well, for Saturday night, it does. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
But yeah,
The
I
only
don't.
thing
I mean,
you still got to keep the safety, obviously,
yep,
and you got to keep probably the general car format.
yep,
Got to fit the templates,
yep.
and that's it.
Shocks, cut or loose,
Years.
travels, cut or loose. I would be intrigued to see what guys would show up with.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's been kind of, I guess, made known that and when you talk about the money part of it, yes, the investment on it is not great in terms of fitting the rules and the investment you'd have to make to do something like that.
And the ROI in that case as well.
Right, for sure. So, and who knows? Maybe a driver doesn't even want to do that knowing you're racing for $1 million. Give me the best known package you got for that place because I want to be competitive.
I still go back to, and this is one of my favorite all-time stories, racing stories. Jeff Gordon, Ray Abraham, and that T-Rex car that they raced in the All-Star race. It was the
Yep.
classic, got all the engineers together and said, build me the best race car.
Yep.
After some testing, they came out with that, and old Bill France sitting in the NASCAR hauler with his then Winston cigarettes
Yep.
said out and says, you got to grab that there phone there and tell Rick Hendrick that that car is illegal.
Yeah.
And Ray goes, what are you talking about? It passed inspection. He says, tomorrow it won't.
Yep. That's the old when you check Twitter. That one's headed to R&D.
And there's a new rule that comes out the following week.
Yep. But
So
no, I'd be good. I'm excited. I always like going back to Wilkesboro now too. I've enjoyed that spectacle.
I'm gonna pull a cam here. I'm gonna throw an oddball question at you fellas. I just want your insight on this. So we've brought this up in the past with the reintroduction with Rockingham, going to Bowman Gray, stuff like that. Do you feel like the All-Star race should have a rotation of tracks?
I would say yes on like a 2-year cycle. I think you go to a place 2 years and then it rotates. Because if you get a place like that figured out, I think, now guys have enough that you could probably even argue that Wilkesboro could be a points race at some point. Go somewhere new that they're going to either haven't been to in a while or they've revived or whatever the situation may be, that go there for 2 years and then that track could now find itself in the conversation of potentially a points race. Now, you have the whole argument of where do you take a race away or what track do you not go to? That's a bigger
I
conversation.
could take one away right away. Yeah, I could take one right away. Take one away right away. I'll keep that comment offline, but
Come on, you're not afraid to say it.
Just give us the track.
it's in a different country.
Got it.
Got it.
I mean, we'll see what that product even looks like. We don't even know what we're getting ourselves into going down there.
Got to get down there.
Come on. We're not trying to get political on this thing.
All right. Any other final thoughts here on the All-Star race before we dive into what was Talladega?
No, it'll be intriguing all the way start to finish. A lot of moving pieces.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and it's not that far away. It's creeping up on us.
Less than 3 weeks, I think. Right around there.
Yep.
3 weeks from today as we record. 27.
Yep.
So
For sure.
all right. Let's talk some Talladega here. we're gonna stick with the Cup race, obviously. Um, my first initial thought on the not truck race, the Cup race was not what I was expecting in a way. Now, given I listened to the entire race without any commentary,
Yep.
so I may have missed something in said commentary during the race, but I just obviously one, we didn't get the big one.
Calm, I would describe it.
Yep. And again, I didn't get to listen to commentary, but I don't know if how much of a um influence fuel saving had in that race.
It did at first when they were riding around 3 wide at first, but then they got to that first pit stop when you had the wreck with Blaney and Brad K and them guys, and then the boys just cut her loose. Then they went to racing where there was no saving it. Once they got down to 2 lanes, it was hammer down from there. So it was a little bit at first, the conversation around when the race started, but then from there, once everyone was full on fuel and they were ready to rock, then the boys just cut her loose. So yeah, I think the general word was calm. You know, it was going to be the thing of can you get the pit road without having an issue? And obviously that bit a few guys, but at the end of the day, it came down to can you get your group of cars organized to get down to get into pit lane on a green flag stop, and where you're going to have, and they said the magic number of cars to run single file make good speed was 7. So it was just could you get your guys organized enough to have a group of 7 that you could work with to make time. So again, it kind of left it down to strategy, honestly. And I enjoyed that. You had a group run a little bit longer to have to not stop as long for fuel. You had guys stopping earlier, trying to do a little leapfrog if they could get organized. But yeah, I think, and then looking at the end, you really didn't have the big one. So the guys just they raced hard, but you didn't smash up a whole bunch of $1 million worth of race cars at the end of the race. And I think there's a lot of people that could appreciate that as they walked away today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
and I think shout out. I mean, still were some nasty hits, but like this is the first time in a while we went to super speedway and we haven't had to discuss Ryan Preece almost dying. So
Didn't have to use the available airspace.
correct. Didn't have to have air traffic control on standby this week. Um,
you almost won the damn thing.
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I think to your point, it was I was surprised because you feel like, obviously there was a few little scuff ups, but usually I feel like at a super speedway we get one, at the end of a stage that knocks a couple guys out going for a few stage points that'll take out one or two. We didn't even have that. So it was it was relatively clean racing and um Fords were flexing on us.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously they had a very, very good qualifying run to start off with. Um, you say Fords were flexing. I'm looking at the top 10 right now, and they had 4 Fords in the top 10. But that does not indicate what they truly had when it came down to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you lost some good cars early in that race as well, 3 of them being Fords. Um, Blaney Kozlowski, obviously, were involved in that pit road mishap. That also included Kyle Busch and Bowman caught a bit of it, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And then Bell and Chris Buescher got together then as well.
Yep.
That ensuing restart
Yep.
off of
Yeah.
Hamilton's nose, I might point out.
Correct. Yeah, no, I think my best way to describe it is calm with strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Had to have your ducks in a row, and when you wanted to stop, you had to have your boys with you to be able to make time. So even then, certain groups kind of just struggled to get organized coming out of pit road where Briscoe was fast, but he had that hiccup and stalled the car on pit road that kind of left him in a tricky spot. And then they were talking about him losing the draft. So again, you had to be on it in terms of not only having your guys organized, but you as a driver too. They had to be on top of it too on those stops that they were organized coming out as well. So
Then, and the other thing too is like, and you saw this at the last round of pit stops, Chastain disturbing the field that was coming up behind him.
oh, he wasn't afraid to just, I'm gonna run right between two lanes. I know where they're coming. I'm gonna park in one lane. And ultimately that no, it really messed the Toyotas up.
Oh yeah.
And he was gonna do it at the cost of potentially getting wrecked himself. Because he put himself in a very uncomfortable situation there. So that also played a little intrigue into that as well. But again, they got to each other. They kind of got a little unorganized, but at the end of the day, everyone kept her straight, and it didn't turn into taking out. You know, if he does that and we wreck 10 cars that half of them are Toyotas, then you're having a whole nother conversation of, did you really have to do that?
Yep.
But it in the end for today, it actually worked out that he did his job in terms of getting that group unorganized, and it just disturbed the rest of their race.
Yep. You saw a lot of your good restrictor plate drivers make it up to the front. Obviously Cindric and Priest, I think, had very strong Daytona 500 runs.
Yep.
And that obviously didn't result in the way that they wanted to, but they made up for it here at Dega. Obviously, Byron, your 500 winner this year, was up there. Logano is always super strong. Gregson just seems to find his way there at the end.
Yep. Stenhouse kind of came and went.
Yep.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
I know sometimes we talk stock up, stock down, and he hasn't necessarily had the greatest year, but I will say one of the things, um, especially on restrictor plates, and he has shown his skill in the one-off races. And he had himself up there today as well. Riley Herbst.
Yep.
Last year in the couple one-offs that he was running, he was, I mean, shit, I think, did he push Blaney to a win, or he was up there? I forget which race.
Yeah.
He's pushed Blaney to a win or whatever, but he's always had his, not always, but he's a young gun that I feel
He's
like,
around.
yeah, and he's, for as young as he is good at restrictor plates, and he had himself up there again today. Didn't have the finish to show for it. I think you could say the same thing with Zane Smith. Again, another young guy that was up there, and on the last lap just got roughed up a little bit and got shoved up to the top, and he was by himself. And I was combing the scoring pile, and I'm like thinking stock up, stock down, and he was running ninth. And then all of a sudden he got shoved up by the wall on the last lap, and he could not get back in the draft. And then how a top 10 beat doesn't even get shoved up top, and then you don't even get a top 20 out of it. So
Right.
yeah, shit happens quick, and one wrong move can cost you a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Ultimately, a fairly calm race. Just came down to strategy and being organized.
Yep. I think obviously from our standpoint, I think we all feel good for Ryan Priest. I think he's all been a guy that we think can have a real breakout year with RFK. Undoubtedly, he's probably starting to be kind of the top guy at RFK, at least this year. Cindric got his win, which we said this was going to be a breakout year for him as well.
Yep.
And he gets that
He's
win
always,
after some couple
yeah,
strong races.
yeah. He's been good on restrictor plates, but he's also this year he's shown speed at other disciplines of tracks that two camp is. They're showing that they can run in the top 10 fairly consistently and be there if the opportunity presents itself to be in the conversation for a win.
Yep. A guy that just can't catch a break the phrasing that we have here is loves making weekends as hard as possible. Old Kyle Busch.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. We were just talking about that before we got started. Is like what we don't really know who to blame, how it all came together. It could have been two guys on different pages, and they were kind of and unfortunately Blaney was just in caught in the crossfire in that whole deal.
Yep.
and here's the shit that's frustrating, and I don't. So RCR camp, you can say what you want. Granted, it was a restrictor plate, but old KY has that mishap. And then he's running around with duct tape on his right front. And then lo and behold, he's got that thing with that duct tape running in the top 10,
Yep.
looking solid as ever. And
Yep.
in just classic Kyle Busch fashion, speeding on pit road.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
I mean, if that isn't the most classic Kyle Busch thing ever, speeding on pit road is.
Yep.
But it's just like that's a guy that's been like such a roller coaster. And obviously with his winless streak or his winning streak ended last year, like at his point in his career, you cannot be having it. And that takes a good day and makes it a bad day. And that
Real quick, your Lucas Oil feature's getting ready to roll. JD Alberson row 1, RTJ Moran row 2. Oh, careful.
I know. Yep.
And then you go a little deeper, some unexpecteds. You got Michael Norris in there, Satterley, McIntosh, Tyler Erb, row 4, Hill Sabat, Carson Ferguson 5, Troutman and Shepard row 6. So you got some hammers up front, a couple unknowns, and then a few more regulars. So getting ready to roll.
Neil row 10, row 12.
Backup. Yeah. But no, I don't know. I think that whole I was impressed with how it played out today, if I'm being honest. I was nervous about it just being a complete wreck fest, if I'm gonna be transparent.
Now I probably missed out on obviously I missed out on a bunch of driver interviews. I'd be curious to see what the drivers thought about the race itself, just how it played
Right.
out.
Yep.
You know, it's was this kind of their doing where they didn't want to jump out of line to try and get that run or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get more more stuff as the interviews come out here tonight into tomorrow as well. In terms of some more feedback of the interviews you don't see on TV with your podium.
Dude, I'm sorry, wrapping this conversation up. I was just pulling like hell for Ryan Preece.
oh, absolutely.
Of course.
And not only that, but we talk about a guy that like we feel like we've been. I would say at this point in the at this point in the season, he has solidified himself as a Cup Series driver.
Yep.
Like I feel like the last couple of years he's been in a situation that it just would make you question if he's Cup Series level, which happens when you get left out of driver meetings. But with the right team and the right equipment, like you could argue, is he RFK's number one car?
I mean, so far what this year has been doing, I mean, God, who knows? Let's take a
And
look
then
at
not only that, but like the fact in his post race interview that he said, like, if it wasn't for this, talk about understanding what his job is. His post race interview says obviously he wants to win, but he's happy with a second place finish. But had it not been for RFK, he'd be back to racing modifieds.
Connecticut.
Yep.
So it's, I mean, I feel like
Yep.
that guy has understood the opportunity, and not only that, but he has capitalized it and has shown everybody he's got what it takes.
He's keeping himself around. So I'm looking at the point standings right now. He sits 12th pending post race inspection.
Yep.
He sits 12th right now He's gotten 36 stage points so far this year. Two top fives, 4 top tens, only 1 DNF, and he's got a stage win.
Yep.
Pretty mid, pretty par, I'd say. But he's just keeping himself around. That win is right there.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Definitely a major stock up for him.
Honestly, and I'm happy as hell for the guy, to be honest.
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot on this one. Old Ryan Blaney here. You want to talk about hero or zero? 4 top tens on the year so far, 4 DNFs on the year so far in 10 races.
You got the most DNFs in the Cup Series right now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of them, majority of them are not his own doing.
And he's got a ton of stage points to boot too, which is keeping him around.
Right.
But man.
He's got speed though.
Oh, 100%.
He's got speed. He's just, old boy's got to get the monkey off his back.
Yep.
So, yeah, good race.
Yeah. Any final thoughts here?
You like? Hold on. Do you like riding that roller coaster?
No. No, I don't like that. Remember that meme that Kellen, I think you sent me this with Blaney
Yep.
with the car. So here, I'm gonna pull it up and I won't be able to show anybody, but here's basically what it is. So it's the front part of the car that says, "Oh boy, I'm excited to watch my driver race." The vast majority of it is, "Wow, we're fast, we can win." And then the last part of it is, "I hate myself. This sucks."
Yep. Oh yeah. That's his season to a T right now.
Welcome to racing.
Yep. Just a racing deal.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Cool. Any thoughts?
Nope, good to go.
All right. So
Oh.
should we hit some news that happened over the weekend here or even over the week?
Yep. Fire away.
My Lucas Oil stream is being
Well, let's say we've got her split up. I know where I'm at. I don't forgot where
yeah. Well, I'm rolling out first here.
we
All right. Yeah. Big announcement, which on the NASCAR side of things, which I feel like we've kind of been speculating, or there's been rumors around it, but we finally are confirmed. NASCAR's Top 3 Series Championship race will return to Homestead in 2026 per Jordan Bianchi and The Athletic. So, just gut reaction. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Excited, pumped,
Oh, I'm excited.
skeptical?
Yep.
I'm excited, but it's also the fact that of it's going to be in a rotation basis as well,
Yep.
where we're going to have Phoenix, Homestead, and possibly another race. A
Yep.
Kansas, a Las Vegas. I don't know. I guess we'll stick with those two for now. But a third track that would be put in the rotation for the championship race. That's what I'm more excited for.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I feel like there's been speculation, rumors, but NASCAR is officially going back there, and yeah, Homestead has put on great racing the last couple in this next gen era. So, be excited to see how that goes. Moving on here, Sam Hunt announces Jesse Little as the team's vice president of business development. Previously worked for NASCAR on the competition side. So Sam Hunt making a move there, and bringing Jesse Little over. and putting them in a role of vice president. So be interesting to see how that works for Sam Hunt. Staying in the Xfinity series, RCR appealed the Jesse Love DQ from Rockingham and ultimately was denied.
Yep.
Or was not overturned. So yeah, not a whole lot else there.
Touching on that real quick. Bob Pockris posted a video of what the infraction was and why it was caught. First off, I'm surprised they caught it.
Yep.
And second, I mean, you want to talk about millimeters,
Yep.
fractions of an inch. I mean,
That was it.
yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Jumping down into some kind of staying on the Xfinity side of things, it's announced that Jesse Wuji will return to the Xfinity Series for the first time since 2023. He will run the 91 for DGM Racing. So he's hopping back in the seat for some Xfinity Series racing for the first time in a little bit of a while. So he'll be back racing. Going a little more on the short track side of things. So we've alluded to this previously with Ricky Brooks and Cordell and the whole deal there. Basically, Saturday race day comes around. Ricky Brooks and his staff were there to run the event, and some reports said that he was removed by police escort for trespassing. But that was kind of hearsay. Call it what you want. But that's kind of just another wrinkle is to the separation of UARA, Ricky Brooks, and then Cordell, the racetrack. So, sticking kind of with that same thing, UARA announced that they are moving some super late races for those races in May and October. They are moved to another venue to be announced. And they are also making adjustments to their sportsman division schedules as well. So UARA is shifting their schedule away from Cordell, obviously, with the departure of Ricky Brooks. Kind of in the past, but notable, Ryan Newman made his Cars Tour debut over the weekend at Orange County. He ran with Matt Piercy Racing. He ran the 7. I think he finished in the low 20s, I believe.
14th.
Oh, 14th. Okay.
14th.
So he made his Cars Tour debut. So a little stock car racing for the Rocket Man.
First time he's ever been in a late model.
Yep. And then kind of last one for me. And I think this one came to a shock of everyone. Spire Motorsports and Rodney Childers parted ways effective immediately. So he was removed from the crew chief position with Justin Haley. Just as kind of a sudden move. And I think reading Rodney's post himself kind of seemed unexpected. Just the word I would describe it. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, Ryan Sparks, the competition director at the team, takes over for Haley, and remains in his competition director spot as well.
So very sudden move, and he's just going to take a little time to be with his family and see what the racing world has for him next.
Two things that the two statements are kind of, yeah. Childers made it seem like he was kind of sudden, not expecting it, but then also Spire kind of made it sound like it was a culture fit, like he wasn't quite fitting whatever. Just neither here nor there. He's one of the best minds in NASCAR, and he can take some time off, and whenever he wants to get back in, he'll have a job and likely whatever he wants. So obviously he's a great mind. And sometimes things just don't work out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he lands, because I think when he wants to come back to racing and when he wants a job again, there'll be no shortage of opportunities for that man.
Yep.
Interesting conversation I heard on Sirius XM NASCAR radio this morning. In their pre-race shows, they interviewed Ryan Sparks. Obviously, with him being the competition director, he's very heavily involved in the decisions and the processes and all that. And he said that it was definitely something that a change needed to be made on the team, and Spire does not hesitate to make changes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
um, jumping into the IndyCar side of things. So they had open testing for the Indy 500 earlier this week. Focusing on day 2, Scott McLaughlin, Takuma Sato, and Will Power were your 3 fastest cars. They did have some tow or drafting help on those days. I believe Scott Dixon was the fastest single car driver on day 1, obviously prepping for the Daytona or for the Indy 500. Sato and Carl Larson both wrecked their cars on day 2 as well. So that puts them behind the 8 ball very quickly when it comes to the Indy
Yep.
500. So next time they'll be on track, it'll be the practice session before qualifying for the Indy 500.
Yep.
So, um, So sprint car news here. So a couple weeks ago, we announced that Cale Thomas was jumping into the Shark Racing car, replacing Jacob Peck. He is no longer in that ride. Cale Thomas and Shark Racing parted ways. They had Ashton Torgensen in the car this weekend for to be determined who will be in the car going forward. Peck uh, was not shy about saying why he possibly was now Cale Thomas was no longer in that car.
Yeah. It came down to wrecking race cars. They've been 3 chassis in 3 nights. Money and race cars don't grow on trees for free. So
Yep.
it seemed like a very logical decision, to be honest.
Yep.
It was insane. Jacob Allen got on there and said, "Sit down, folks."
Yeah.
Moving into the short track side of things here, kind of doing more regional. Just before the ASA Midwest Tour starts their season, Bob Abbott's, who was the tech director for the ASA Midwest Tour for a number of years, announced his retirement. He was the 2015 NASCAR Officials Choice Award winner. Steve Buckingham will take over the role, a role which he will currently holds with the Midwest Truck Series as well. On that note, and maybe this might be a little bit of a bash at Ricky Brooks, which we'll see if I feel sorry for it about it or not. I feel like a tech director is doing a good job when he's not in the news.
Yep. And when you can go out on your own terms and everyone celebrates you, it's also very positive.
So throwing it out there. Last little bit of news here, and this might something we could throw at you guys as well. Coltman Farms says it is investing a little bit more into the World of Outlaws. They have created a 9-event championship race with the $10,000 points for the top 2 point earners of this competition. First place will get $7,500. Second place will get $2,500. Basically, it's championship inside of the championship at Talladega Short Track, which was this past weekend. Mississippi Thunder, Marion Center, Deer Creek, Fairbury for the PDC, Perry Dirt Classic, Cedar Lake for the USA Nationals, Tri-City, Boot Hill, and then the World Championships at Charlotte.
You forgot to say that Coltman Farms was investing in Bobby Pierce, but that's fine.
I don't know. Any thoughts with that at all? I know I threw some comments in the group chat about it.
I can appreciate the investment in it. You know, it gives guys that might not be able to win weekly, it gives them a chance to race for a little money, maybe at particular tracks that they are better at than regular points racing. So I don't mind it. I appreciate the investment in it. We'll just kind of see how it plays out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Bobby Pierce's to lose. So
Bobby Pierce is to lose.
and over the course of it, it is how many races? Does it end up even paying out $1,000 a race?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's Bobby's to lose, and at the end of the day, if we've got a sponsor that's willing to do something like this and pour money into the sport to try to make it better, help people out, whatever, I'm all for it. So um obviously thankful for Coleman Farms and what they do for dirt racing, but yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Bobby, here's some more money unless you
Don't really screw up.
really screw it up.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Let's move into our Wheelman of the week here, and we've got a ton of candidates here, especially since I just added one. We'll just kind of go down the list and we'll go from there. So, we got Devin Moran and RTJ, your winners of the two Lucas Oil races this year. The aforementioned Bobby Pierce, winner of the Alabama Game 100, for win number 11. Let me double check that. Correct. Yep. Win number 11 on the year for him. Sheldon Hanshield gets his first win on the World Outlaws season this year at Tri-State Speedway. Michael Bilderbeck wins the Big 8 feature at Grundy again. Don't have an event winner number for that. Should be his first win on the year, I remember.
Yep.
Austin Cindric with his win at Talladega. I threw in Carl Larson in here as well because he put his you know what on the table, making the pass for the lead for the win at Lincoln Speedway. I wish I could find that video, and I might have to find that video for you guys here in a bit. But that pass, I mean, it had Carson Macedo stunned as far as how he did it.
Yeah.
So that's who we got for nominees, unless you guys got for anybody else.
Nope.
So I guess it's up for debate. Who are your winners?
I kind of got it down to two.
Okay.
I'm between Bobby Pierce, obviously a big payday Alabama gang 100, starts his little mini championship tour to cash a check. He's already working on that $7,500. Kind of, I don't know. My other one just goes to Bilderback. Big 8 champ. He's won the event before. Hopped in that car and said, yeah, I'm going to try to win the title again this year. So
Right.
kind of my two.
Cam, what do you got?
Um
Unless you want me to go next.
Got a mixed
I
bag.
guess, yeah, kind of mixed bag. Nothing sticks out at me, so I guess maybe it's just recency bias, but I'm gonna go with Cindric. I think just a massive win for him and what that does for his season. And again, I feel like that man just keeps ringing the bell every time that we put him on blast for his keisters getting a little bit warm. Um, he answers the bell and does this. So, um, yeah, I guess I'm gonna go Cindric just because I think that is for his job, for his job security, and for I think that again silences the critics and the doubters for a little while for him. So um, I think it was a big win for him and that team this early in the year, and can totally change the trajectory of his year. So uh, I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna go Cindric.
Well, I guess I'm going to be the deciding factor on this one then. I'm also going through two names out there, but it's ultimately going to get us our winner for the week. My first one was going to be Kyle Larson because, like I said, that pass for lead was the damnedest thing I had ever seen in a sprint car. But the one that I'm going to ultimately pick, and this will ultimately be our winner as well, I'm also going to go with Austin Cindric. Um, has been
Menards
kind of
bias.
just he's been sitting on it for a little bit. It like we said, we felt like this was going to be a breakout year for him. Finally got that win. Obviously, he was very excited for that win, as you could see as he got out of the car as well.
Yep.
That starts the pendulum as far as starting to get some momentum going and starting around off some really good races. So
Yeah.
And for any
Yep.
viewers, let's throw this in there. We are working. We do have a corporate Menards employee that just decided that Menards was on the car today for Cindric. Cindric did say how happy he was to get John Menard in victory lane. So, um, yeah, we'll just leave it at that, listeners.
Wow.
all right.
Austin Cindric. All right. All right. What do we got for race previews?
Oh, I'm rolling out first here again. First and on the track. We are going to cover trying something a little bit different and kind of going a little bit by surface or discipline, I guess you could say. So first up here, we're going to cover a little dirt, super late model racing here, and just a couple events that we've got on the docket coming up this week. So World of Outlaws, the Wu Gang, is in Wisconsin at Mississippi Thunder for the Dairyland Showdown. 3 nights of racing, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 10K to win on Thursday and Friday, and a hefty 75,000 to win the Saturday night's champion. So, some big paydays and good racing, right down in Fountain City, Wisconsin. Not only that, but then we do have Lucas Oil. They are racing again this weekend as well. They'll be at Circle City Raceway for 15,000 to win, and Florence Speedway for 25,000 to win. So some big paydays for Lucas Oil as well. And then lastly, we've got Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series, and they've got 2 nights of racing at probably gonna butcher this name, Livonia, for 10 and 20,000 to win. So on the front, paying out some respectable paydays there as well. So yeah, and the good news for you guys is they're all on 3 different streaming services. So
Well, I
kidding.
might
That's not
even be at one of those. So
kidding. That is not good news. We're working with.
Yep.
all right. Moving over to I guess some regional stuff up for us. Big weekend coming up for us here in the Midwest here The ASA Midwest Tour is back in action. Their first race of the year at Madison International Speedway for the Joel Shear Classic 200. Entry list currently has 28 drivers on it. Some notables on there: Justin Mondyke, Andrew Morrissey, Paulie Schaefer, Levon Vandergeest, Ty Majeski is also going to be there. Casey Johnson's running, just a good slew of drivers. Of note, Mark Martin will be there for Grand Marshal,
Yep.
and we'll
Autograph
be
session as well.
doing some promotional stuff. So the Meadows Truck Series is also back in action as well. Grant Griesbach is your leader after one event, which was the Alive 5 race earlier this year. Top 10 right now is only separated by 33 points. Obviously, you're in the year, so it can go either way. Jeff Holtz was your winner of this event last year as well. So looking forward to that one. There was 33 trucks on the entry list, I believe, when they came out with it last week. So they could have a few more entries yet to come. But looking forward to that one. Other one that I want to bring up real quick: sprint cars. The World Outlaws and USAC sprint cars are both going to be at Eldora this weekend for the Let's Race 2. Always like enjoying this one. I like both the World Outlaw sprint cars and USAC sprint cars. And just Eldora is just a badass track for sprint cars too. So
Absolutely.
tune into that one. That should be a good one as well.
Yeah, looking at more of the national tour asphalt side of things, I guess you could say. Starting with ARCA, I guess I should say starting with Nashville. You have the ARCA East and the Southern Super Series running with CRA. That will be at Nashville. Those will both race on Saturday. Cars Tour, both pro and late model stocks are back in action on Friday night at Ace. USAC Silver Crown goes to Winchester on Sunday afternoon. And then looking at the NASCAR series, you have NASCAR Wheelman Modifieds at, I'm going to butcher this one too, Monadnock. I can't say that very well, but that's on Saturday. And then NASCAR's top 3 series, Trucks Xfinity Cup, all head to Texas. So they're headed south to do a little racing in the great Lone Star State of Texas.
Oh, another sprint car one that I forgot to mention. High Limit will also be racing. They'll be at Texarkana on the 30th. Then they'll be at Texas Motor Speedway on Thursday and Saturday in conjunction with NASCAR at Texas as well.
Yep.
So expect to see Kyle Larson running this week for High Limit.
Yep. Well, I suppose it's that time.
Quick update for race picks. For those that didn't know, the race picks last week, Cam took Byron. Solidified the bottom of the pylon.
Yeah.
Race points updates as well. I mean, Cam's leading, got 663 points right now. Kellen, you are in second now at 499 points, and I am in third at 498 points.
So just a quick nearly 170 points on us.
So I did the math. I added up our Bristol picks and then I did our Alive for 5 picks. I input mine and Kellen's points in first before I even did Cam's, and Cam was still in the lead without even adding his points.
Great.
That's how big of a lead he's got.
Yep. Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna have some hammer weeks here. So let's make some picks, I suppose, huh? See if we can close that
I
gap a little bit.
suppose I need to do something here. So I've got to go back. I got to take a look here. Oh,
this first round of picks will be for Cup at Texas.
Yes. Yep. We are picking for Texas here.
I was just looking back. Did we only go to Texas one time one time each year?
Yes.
Yep.
Damn. I feel like that's a track that deserves 2.
I feel like I'm going to go with the low hanging fruit here, but I need to do something. Give me old Kyle Larson.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta do the same thing. Give me Willie Byron. Paralysis by analysis.
You say that, but you're also talking to the guy that's got almost a 200-point lead on us.
Yeah, we need him to like fall ball.
Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, we need a couple water shots he was referring to earlier.
Yeah. Well, Kyle Larson finished 21st here last year.
But he led a good number of laps. It's off the board anyway, so forget about it.
I don't trust a Ford. So that means we're going to go Toyota. And God willing, actually, no, just scratch that. Just give me Christopher Bell.
Okay.
All right. You also get the first pick. We're going to make a race pick for the Joe Shear Classic. Couple things. We're only making one pick. We're also in our long-standing rule for Midwest Tour races. Ty Majeski is off the table.
Yep.
All right. And so if you guys ever want a shot to make up some ground, here is your shot. Um,
Cam, for the record, your boy Derek Kraus is officially not on the entry list.
Not, but said he was going to run. So we'll see. Potentially.
well, I'm not gonna pick him anyways. Um,
I got a dark horse, so I'm feeling good. Do.
with a lead like this, I know this is gonna be a little bit. This is gonna be a little bit. I don't know. I guess call it what you want, but
Spit it out.
Yeah, spit it out. Come on.
I'm just gonna say this is gonna be a little bit of a bold move to just go to pick a back to back, but also with the lead I've got, again, let's just not hit a water ball. Give me Luke Fenhouse.
Not a bad pick.
Oh, not at all. Which means Kel, you are up.
Fredrickson's fast, but I don't know that I trust him.
I got one for you. Morrissey.
That's a really good pick.
He was damn fast at Oktoberfest, and he's back in the
That's a
seat more
really good
consistently.
pick.
He's going to be a guy that's going to be there at the end.
This car's gonna pass Tech or no?
Yeah, it will. He'll be good. He'll have that thing dialed in. They practiced there last weekend, so he's good. Saturday they practiced. I mean, you got a lot of really good options, Van Grohl.
I know. Like one of them sticks out like a sore thumb. Two of them stick out like a sore thumb. Give me a guy. He's won this race before. He's on a little bit of a comeback tour this year. Give me the old 5 of Casey Johnson.
Yep, that's a good pick. Yep, that's a good pick.
So, all right. We haven't done one of these in a while. Should we do a fantasy update?
Yeah.
So, looking at your results from Talladega, Jared won the week at 212 points. Gasman's Girl, second, 194. I was in third at 187. Kellen, you were at 179. The Gasman Cam was at 127. A little bit of a rough week for you there.
Well, just gonna throw this out there. When you fall asleep in the recliner and you wake up and it's stage 3, yeah, it's. But also, I was handcuffed with. I was sitting there with Ryan Blaney in the waiting in the garage. So when he went out there early,
You were
stuck with what
done.
I had. Yep.
Yep. And then Sophie's pit picks rounded out the field at 211 or at 111. Looking at the overall standings, Cam, you are tied for the lead with Jared at 1739. I am in third at 1690. Kellen, you are in fourth at 1580. Gasman's Girl at fifth, 1532. And Sophie's picks 1472. As we roll into Texas this weekend. So.
Yep.
All right. Any final thoughts here before we sign off?
No, just be on the look for our Joe Shearer event preview video we'll have out middle of the week so you can get you a little insight into we start our Midwest tour up here, our asphalt racing season with a really big event. So we'll have a little preview for you. So other than that, make sure you get to your local racetrack.
No, it is. I feel like we're finally on the turn of racing season here in Wisconsin. Outside of we've conquered one Ma Nature in snow. Now we just got to conquer the other Ma Nature, which looks like we're going to be taking shelter tomorrow. But finally getting some nice weather, so it feels like we are officially days are longer, and racing season is in the full swing of things. So, yeah, makes these episodes and this podcast fun to do.
Yep.
Absolutely. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe, especially subscribe so you can get all that racing content, including race previews, which will kind of scatter throughout the year with some of our bigger events that happen throughout the country, for all kinds of disciplines as well, not just Midwest racing. But again, be sure to check us out on socials as well. Yeah, like Colin was saying, make sure to hit up your local short track. Yeah, we're getting in the thick of things. There's all kinds of racing and all kinds of streaming services as well. So if you can't watch at the track, make sure to watch as best you can on the old streaming services as well. Until then, though, we'll see you all next time on next week's episode of the Tuesday Track Talk.